This is why 2026 might be the most chaotic season in Formula One history. Every manufacturer is being forced to throw out everything they know about building power units, and 4 companies are betting everything on being ready first. Mercedes has been called the benchmark. Honda was described as struggling. Audi admits they will not be the final product until 2027, and Red Bull's new chief executive officer called their project the craziest challenge in recent Formula One history. Who actually comes out on top, and is anyone truly prepared for what's coming? Stay with me, because the answer involves a technical loophole already causing major controversy. What's changing for 2026 goes far beyond minor tweaks, because these regulations represent the most significant technical reset since the turbo-hybrid era began in 2014. Power distribution sits at the center. Current cars draw 80% of their power from the internal combustion engine, with electric motors contributing 20%. 2026 flips that to a 50/50 split. Electric motor output triples from 120 kW to 350 kW, which translates to 470 brake horsepower from electricity alone. The second major shift involves removing the MGH, the most complex and expensive component in the entire power unit, which lowers the barrier to entry for new manufacturers dramatically. And the fuel changes entirely from the current E10 fuel with its 10% bio component to 100% sustainable fuel. Hywell Thomas runs Mercedes' high-performance powertrains, and he described it as a complete tear-up where absolutely everything is up for grabs. His exact words were that there will not be a single component to carry over even in the V6, because everything is completely new. Every manufacturer starts fresh, and the real question becomes who is starting from the best position. Mercedes holds preseason favorite status for good reason. 4 teams run Mercedes power in 2026, including their factory squad, McLaren, Williams, and Alpine. That means at least 16 power units must be produced before March. What gives them a massive advantage comes down to timing. Heavy investment in test benches and development tools happened before the power unit cost cap came into effect. Hywell Thomas admitted they got everything they asked for from Mercedes during that period. July of 2022 marked their first single-cylinder test engine firing, and by January of 2023, the full V6 was running. That timeline represents a significant head start. Data collection creates another edge. 4 customer teams generate significantly more track kilometers and feedback than Honda or Audi receive from supplying just 1 team each. James Allison described the internal feeling as pretty similar to 2014, the year Mercedes dominated the hybrid era before winning 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships. Toto Wolff refuses to get comfortable. He called himself and his team half-glass, half-empty people, adding that if they produce a decent chassis, they're a good value proposition, but acknowledging nobody truly knows where they stand. Hywell Thomas goes further with his caution, saying they would be nuts doing anything other than keeping their heads down while assuming they are 10 to 15 kW behind and working out how to catch up. Honda's journey to 2026 takes unusual turns. October of 2020 brought their departure announcement, and May of 2023 brought a complete reversal with commitment to Aston Martin. This partnership marks the first time this team, through all its previous identities including Racing Point, Force India and Jordan, has ever held factory manufacturer status. Honda supplies Aston Martin exclusively with Koji Watanabe, stating they want to concentrate on winning with Aston Martin alone. Adrian Newey adds weight no other partnership can match. 12 Constructors' Championships worth of experience joined Aston Martin in March of 2025, accelerating collaboration between chassis and power unit development. Geography works in Honda's favor through the 9-hour time difference between Japan and the United Kingdom. Engineers at Silverstone watched Secura Dyno data live, enabling a 24-hour development cycle. December 12th of 2025 brought a statement when Honda became the first manufacturer to publicly share audio of their 2026 power unit. 20 seconds of dyno footage sent a message about readiness. Concerns surfaced when Koji Watanabe used the word struggling to describe development, explaining that everything is new, including a compact 355 kW motor and a lightweight battery. Clarification came later, where he emphasized the regulations themselves are technically challenging for everyone. Development continues until the last possible moment. Project leader Tetsushi Kikuta acknowledged their slightly late start and said they want to push forward until the very last moment. Ambition defines Audi's entry more than any other manufacturer project Formula One has witnessed in years. Their announcement came at the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix, followed by a Sora acquisition totaling approximately $600 million, and then hiring Misha Binotto to run the operation. Neuburg in Germany now houses the only operational Formula One team location in the country, building the first Formula One powertrain on German soil in over a decade. Development started in spring of 2022. Single-cylinder testing followed in late 2022, and by the end of 2023 a full hybrid drivetrain was running. November of 2025 brought completion of their first engines. Expectations stay grounded at Audi. James Key acknowledged they will not be the final product until 2027. Misha Binotto laid out 3 phases: challengers in 2026, competitors from 2027 through 2029, and champions by 2030. Volkswagen Group's financial pressures raised questions after announcing plans to close 3 German factories and cut 50 jobs. CEO Gernot Dollner addressed this by stating the Volkswagen crisis is not at all threatening the Formula One project, with financial cushioning from the Qatar Investment Authority's stake purchase and the Revolut title partnership. Budget considerations required FIA intervention because Swiss salary costs at Hinwil run 35 to 45% higher than the UK or Italy. Without the approved higher budget cap, Binotto explained the team would have faced a $20 million disadvantage. What Red Bull attempted starting in February of 2021 defies conventional wisdom. Red Bull powertrains came into existence after Honda announced their departure, and rather than finding a new supplier, Red Bull chose to build their own power unit in-house. A partnership with Ford followed in February of 2023. Laurent Meix took over as Chief Executive Officer and Team Principal in July of 2025 after Christian her departure, calling it the craziest challenge in recent Formula One history. And typical Red Bull crazy stuff. 5 senior engineers departed Mercedes HPPP in 2021 for this project. Ben Hodkinson brought over 20 years of Mercedes Brixworth experience as technical director. Integration creates an advantage only Ferrari can match. Red Bull becomes just the second Formula One team with chassis and power unit operations on the same campus, eliminating communication barriers that have plagued other manufacturer and team relationships. The engine has been running on the dynamometer for a while, according to Mechis. Mark Rushbrook from Ford confirmed targets for power, weight, fuel efficiency and reliability are on track. Verstappen heard the engine and called it good sounding and crisp while adding it is not a V10. Mickey's maintains an honest perspective, acknowledging they're in the peak stress moment, working to actually build the engine and get it to the racetrack. December of 2025 brought reports that could reshape the entire competitive order. Mercedes and Red Bull have reportedly found a way to exploit thermal expansion to achieve higher effective compression ratios. Regulations set a 16:1 limit at ambient temperature, but operating temperatures may allow these teams to reach closer to 18:1 in race conditions. The FIA ruled this approach legal because regulations specify static checks at ambient temperature only. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda responded by lodging complaints requesting clarification. 10 to 13 extra horsepower translates to approximately 3 to 4/10 of a second per lap at Albert Park. Across an entire season, that gap could separate championship contenders from also-rans. Breaking down the evidence reveals clear patterns. Mercedes holds benchmark engine status, the most experience, and the largest data pool from 4 customer teams. Investment happened before the cost cap existed. Multiple sources describe their engine as possibly the only one in good shape for 2026. Honda brings a proven track record, an exclusive focus on a single team, and Adrian Newey's expertise. Analysts describe them as the emerging biggest threat to Mercedes. Audi builds from scratch without prior power unit heritage, and they maintain realistic expectations about needing until 2030 to compete for championships. Red Bull Ford also builds from scratch, but they gained Mercedes' talent and they hold the integration advantage of chassis and engine sharing the same campus. Adrian's assessment cuts to the heart of 2026. His view is that there is a big chance this becomes an engine formula at the start because he cannot remember another time when both chassis and engine regulations change simultaneously. Whichever team arrives with the best power unit, it will likely dominate 2026 regardless of chassis performance. Right now, Mercedes appears to hold that position. Honda remains the dark horse. Red Bull Ford carries wild card status with everything to prove. Audi represents the long-term investment that could surprise everyone by 2030. Real answers arrive at preseason testing in Barcelona on January 26th. When those cars fire up, the truth about who did their homework becomes impossible to hide. The 2026 engine war is not about spending the most money. What matters is who started earliest, who hired the right people, and who made the correct technical bets while nobody was watching. Based on everything available, that war has already been won. The winner just has not been revealed yet.